Hello, you're watching News Mongolia on MNB World. I'm your host, L.Oyun-Erdene. Our top stories. The Ministry of Health conducted a press conference on COVID-19 updates for the past week. PM L.Oyun-Erdene meets Japanese PM Yoshihide Suga. 263 development projects to be launched in 2022. For other news, stay tuned. The Ministry of Health conducted a press conference to provide updates and details of the past week on the COVID-19 situation in Mongolia. It was said that the percentage of positive cases among total tests is decreasing, yet there is still a risk of surge in COVID-19 cases. The Deputy Director of the NCCD Bagalma answered questions from journalists at today's press conference. It was said that at the conference that the highest percentage of positive cases among total cases in the city once stood at 30%. Whereas now it is 17.6%, which indicates a decrease in the spread of virus in Ulaanbaatar city. However, the dynamic of viral transmission depends on people's activities. Thus, there's a risk of surge in COVID-19 cases when people go back to work after summer holiday and the city starts getting busier. Ms. Bagalma also stated that there is still about 200,000 people who have received the first dose of a COVID-19 vaccine but haven't yet received the second dose, and she encouraged these people to get the second dose. Although it is praiseworthy that many have been completely vaccinated, certain people who are not fully vaccinated are at high risk of getting exposed to a mutated variant of the virus. In order to provide the citizens with more protection against COVID-19, the Ministry of Health is studying the possibility of vaccinating citizens with a third dose of vaccines. Detailed information on the third dose of vaccines will be given from next month, Bagalma said. The Ministry of Health advised people to keep taking the same precautionary measures as the Delta variant is also transmitted in the same way as most common Alpha variant is. Prime Minister of Mongolia L.Oyun-Erdene held an official meeting with the Prime Minister of Japan Yoshihide Suga at Government House on the 22nd of July as part of his working visit to Japan.
This is the first meeting between the two prime ministers in 2 years. The two sides exchanged views on the current state of the Mongolian-Japanese relations, future goals and activities, as well as a wide range of international and regional issues. Prime Minister L.Oyun-Erdene reaffirmed his commitment to expanding and developing the strategic partnership and cooperation with Mongolia's third neighbor Japan in all sectors of cooperation. He congratulated the government of Japan on successfully hosting the Olympic Games in the face of the pandemic and expressed confidence that the Games will be a symbol of humanity's success in overcoming the pandemic. Japanese Prime Minister Yoshihide Suga expressed his gratitude for the arrival of the Prime Minister of Mongolia during the historic challenge of hosting the Olympic Games and for starting his first visit abroad in Japan. The Mongolian Prime Minister also expressed his deep gratitude to the government of Japan for its continued support for Mongolia's democracy and sustainable development, as well as for its continued support during the COVID-19 pandemic. The parties agreed to boost economic, trade, and investment cooperation to the next level and intensify public-private partnership. The Chinggishai International Airport built in the Khushuk Valley is a clear example of that. 2022 will mark the 50th anniversary of the establishment of diplomatic relations between Mongolia and Japan. The two countries have agreed to celebrate this historic anniversary. On the occasion of this anniversary, His Majesty Emperor Naruhito of Japan has received an invitation to visit Mongolia. The Mongolian side also welcomed the Japanese Prime Minister's proposal to declare the 2022 the Year of Friendship and Exchange between Mongolian and Japanese children and youth. The parties celebrated the successful completion of the medium-term program for the development of the Mongolia-Japan strategic partnership for the period 2017 and 2021, and discussed the content of the next medium-term program for the period of 2021-2025 in the near future. The Prime Minister of Mongolia is continuing his visit to Japan. He will pay a courtesy call on His Majesty the Emperor Naruhito and will meet with the Secretary General of the Liberal Democratic Party, Toshihiro Nikai, as well as the chairman and members of the Japan-Mongolia Parliamentary Friendship Group.
A plan to boost Mongolia's economic and social development in 3 directions was launched. According to the plan, 263 projects will be implemented with a total budget of 10 trillion Mongolian tugriks. The development plan, which has been developed for the year 2022, comprises 6 groups such as human development, economy, governance, and green development. In the past, the Ministry of Finance launched a program to improve the economy every year. For the first time, the National Development Agency plans to develop the country in 1 year. The plan is aimed at overcoming the social and economic hardships due to the pandemic before anything else, while also focusing on projects to be implemented in the capital and rural areas. The budget for the plan is estimated to be around 10 trillion Mongolian tugriks.
The plan mainly focuses on projects in the health and education sectors. Certain factors are limiting economic growth in our country. What hinders economic development the most is regarded to be infrastructure, logistics and energy sector issues. Thus, the solutions to these issues have come into sharp focus in our plan. They can be resolved if we try to deal with them on an annual basis. We cannot keep the tradition of attempting to address these big issues only before elections.
To develop the next year's plan, projects and activities conducted in 2020 were evaluated. Last year, 127 activities were planned, which achieved a success rate of 75%. The plan to develop the country until 2023 has been devised following next year's budget expectations and the 10 trillion Mongolian tugriks budget to plan boost employment. The plan to develop the country until 2023 has been devised following next year's budget expectations and the 10 trillion Mongolian tugrik budget plan to boost employment. The funding of the plan is said to be achieved by the state budget as well as foreign loans and grants. Also, it was said that economically inefficient projects have to stop being funded, as there are lots of other projects that are seen as highly promising in solving poverty and unemployment.
Parliament approved the law on the year-long plan, but it was also stated not to put an excess burden on the 2022 state budget. A concession agreement between public and private entities was made in order not to cause any additional burden on the budget due to the year-long plan. Like this, there are lots of other complex aspects to be addressed in implementing the plan.
Studies show that the rate of nationwide COVID-19 vaccination, potential virus variants, price fluctuations of the main mineral exports, and sudden climate change are perceived as potential threats to the implementation of the next year's plan. They say that the development plan was devised after studying the threats and risks, and now the projects of building new power plants, power cables, and power distribution centers in 10 provinces have met with an 80% success rate. As a result, the quality of life of citizens has improved, and 7 SUMs and 23 bugs were connected to fiber optic cables, allowing them to get connected to high-speed internet. Additionally, considerable progress is said to have been made in the health and education sectors. Now let's look at the currency exchange rates provided by Mongol Bank. The draw for the Tokyo 2020 Olympic Games judo competition was completed on Thursday. Mongolian judokas Amurtufshin and Oruntsitseg will be the first fighters in action on the first day of the Games following Friday's opening ceremony.
Mongolian judoka Amurtufshin will compete in men's 60 kg category against Dutch judoka Tornike Tsakadoe on Saturday, July 24th. If he wins his first round, he will face Russian sportsman Robert Mshvedabadze. Amurtufshin won the silver medal in the extra lightweight division at the 2013 World Judo Championships that was held in Brazil, Rio de Janeiro. Meanwhile, Mongolian judoka Oruntsitseg will compete in women's 48 kg weight category on July 24th. Her opponent is not yet announced. Either Katarina Menz from Germany or Mari de Vargas from Chile will compete against Oruntsitseg on Saturday. In 2013, Oruntsitseg became the first female world champion in judo from Mongolia. At the 2012 Summer Olympics, she was defeated in the quarterfinals. Another Mongolian judoka, Somia Dortsuru, will compete against Slovenian judoka Kaja Kaiser in women's 52 kg weight category on July 26th. Somia is the 2016 Rio Olympics silver medalist. Mongolian judoka Said Mulai will compete against the judoka from Kazakhstan Didar Khamsa in the men's 81 kg category on July 27th. Said Mulai is originally from Iran but is now representing Mongolia, and he is a 2018 world champion. He represented Mongolia at the Grand Slam Hungary 2020 event and won the bronze medal in the 81 kg category. On July 31st, the Mongolian judo team will compete against the South Korean team in the mixed team category.
And here's the weather forecast for major cities around the world. Well, that's it for today. Thank you for staying with us on News Mongolia. See you next week with more stories and updates. Please follow MNB World on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Instagram. Have a great weekend. Goodbye.